In this video, we're going to look at the task list application using web storage instead of cookies. So here, our index file is basically the same as it was the first time we did this project using cookies. Let's go ahead and open this. So I'm going to right click on it and say open in the default browser. And notice when we do, we don't get an error message saying, hey, you have to run this over HTTP. Because web storage does not require that. So I can go in here and I can do something like cut the grass, and I can add the task. I'm not using live server to run it. Cut the grass, clean the house. I can add tasks. Let's see what happens if I do this. So they're persistent, they're staying. So that tells me that we're using local storage because it's persistent. And let's go look at the code that lets this application work. And you'll find it's very, very simple compared to what we had to do when we did cookies. Let's look at the JavaScript here. First of all, the code's shorter. That's all the code right there. It's shorter because it doesn't need all those helper functions that we did with cookies. We made all those helper functions to create our cookies and retrieve our cookies and parse our cookies and delete our cookies. Instead, we're just using the methods built into the storage object. It also works in all web browsers, even if we run the application from the file system. We're no longer limited to HTTPS. Also, one thing you might notice here is that we don't see, when you look through the code, we're going to look through it, you'll see that there is no expiration date set. There is no timeout set. So it doesn't do like a 21-day limit. It persists forever unless we reset it and take it away. So that's another advantage to using web storage, is we don't have to set those timeouts. So let's go through and look at and see how this works. So we have our document ready. Here, our dollar function calling up the document loaded, document ready. We're going to add a click method for add task when somebody presses the add task button. What are we going to do? We're going to go out and get the task text box, and then we're going to pull the value out of that text box and assign it to the variable task. Okay, which is exactly how we did it before. If task is an empty string, we're going to alert the user that they need to enter a task. Otherwise, we're going to start doing something with our local storage. So let's look at this one, because this one can be a little confusing. So our current tasks, what we're going to do is we're going to look at local storage.mytasks. Okay. If that doesn't exist, meaning it's not there, we can't do anything with it. We're going to set the value to an empty string. This is an OR operator. Remember, logical OR. So if this one's empty, if this one has something in it, it's going to use it. But if it doesn't have something in it, it's going to set tasks to an empty string. Then we're going to take our tasks and we're going to concatenate on the task that we pulled out of the current task box, along with a \n, a new line character. Also notice that we don't have to do any coding and decoding. Okay. Then we're going to clear out our text box because we've already added the value to our tasks list. Then we're going to access local storage.mytasks, and we're going to get that value back out, and we're going to update our task list box with it. And then we're going to set focus back to our first text box. That's simple. That simple. That's it. Okay. We also have the remove item, which basically just calls local storage.remove item and removes my tasks. If we want to remove all of our things, it just takes it out. And then down here, we have the initial code, which you saw me run when I shut my browser down and restarted it, that goes to local storage and pulls out the tasks and updates that task list when the browser first loads. Much more simple than it was when we were using cookies. The last thing I want to do here is let's pull up the task list here, and I'm going to hit my F12 to go to my F12 tools. I'm in local storage because we know we're using local storage here, not session storage. And I'm just going to go up here and add cut the grass to my task list. And you can see here under local storage, I can see my key, which is my tasks, and value cut the grass. I can go up here and add another one, clean the house, add the task, and I have cut the grass and clean the house added. Works very well. So you can check your local storage again. That's under the application tab of our F12 tools to go and see those values. All right, that's it for this section.